So if you haven't seen this channel, I talk about a lot. And I'm like a fan of a lot of things. So this one's gonna be about wrestling. Um I wanted to talk about the Sasha Banks. Basically about Sasha Banks. Now, 2 videos ago I kinda like did a little bit about Sasha Banks, but one, I was everywhere with it, and two, I didn't there was more to it I could have added, but I guess I didn't know much back then. Now that I know now, so I know if y'all just watch WrestleMania, Sasha Banks lost her tag titles that she begged Vince McMahon to add to the Iconics. Now, um, which is funny because the Iconics have been losing. Excuse me. The Iconics have been losing every match ever since they got their tag titles, except for a couple two jobbers. But other than that, the Iconics have been losing every match that they have been putting on. So they haven't been making the titles look strong. I don't know if they're going to keep the titles past Money in the Bank, because even though I was wrong about them bringing up the Sky Pirates, they brought up Kyrie. They made Oscar, so I guess they're going to turn Oscar and Kyrie Sane into a tag team. And I don't know how long that's going to last, really, because I don't know. I really look at Oscar as a singles competitor, but I guess putting two Japanese women in the same kind of tag team, it kind of works. But I thought they was going to bring up both the Sky Pirates. That's what I thought, that when Oscar was still do her singles thing. But back to Sasha Banks. See, this is what I mean about going off track. But back to Sasha Banks. A lot of people, when they talked about her like quitting or maybe following AEW and all the other stuff, they called her entitled. They called her like a brat or spoiled and all that other stuff. And I've seen a lot of people is like giving her real shit. And I don't know, wrestling's funny like this because I remember when Stone Cold, and first of all, like her walking out or like needing a break, I was for that because it's kind of like you wanted to make those tag titles prestigious, and I see what they had plans, and like even though she should have like thought ahead about what Vince would do, but I could tell she had plans about those tag titles. Her and Babe was trying to make it prestigious and all that other stuff, just so then when they passed it on, they was like, "Oh, we defended these titles and prestige," and it didn't work out in their favor. So I could see why she's pissed. A lot of people don't see it; they kind of look at her as spoiled. But you gotta understand, if you ever look at a singles title reign, every time she grabbed the title, she's never held the title. It's like they either gave it back to Charlotte or back to Alexa Bliss. She has never held the thing longer than a pay per view. It's like she get it from one pay per view, and then the next pay per view or Monday night she loses it. How is like that's not defending the title? This like it makes you a paper champion. Like Charlotte has gotten this title 8 times on from both SmackDown and Raw. She has gotten it 8 times, and like some of her shortest reigns is probably longer than most people's longest reigns, especially Sasha. And tell you the truth, like Lacey Evans, you could tell Vince still got to think about blondes because Lacey Evans, Alexa Bliss, maybe hell, I felt like they was gonna push Dana Brooke for a second. I've been seeing her up there a lot, and but back to Sasha before. Like most people, I don't think most people don't understand this because Sasha is very passionate about the wrestling. It's like if I'm one of your biggest merch sellers and all the other stuff, you see people, you see the girls in there with the boss jewelry and all the other stuff. I know Becky like blew up, and it's really Becky time. I can understand that, but at the same time, like I feel like Sasha still has something to give to the company, and I feel like she's not really being utilized. Like they've literally had nothing for her or Bailey. I'm looking at Bailey now, like at this moment, Bailey, she just had one of her best looking promos and looks from promo wise from the last SmackDown, and yet she just lost to Charlotte, and Charlotte's going to go for the title again. So it's going to be Charlotte versus Becky again after they had this whole promo that Becky was like, I'm sick of defending my title to you. I want to defend my title to other people. And it's like, you should go to the back of the line. And the whole thing was like, oh, I will do it again, but she gets the title opportunity whenever the fuck she wants. So that's not going back to the fucking line. But back to Sasha. I've been going on for Sasha. Sasha, like, I think one people forget when they was talking about her being selfish and all the other stuff. I think one thing people realize, and I don't want to bring race into it, but I kind of have to. I remember this picture. It was like her, the New Day, Rich Swann, and they all had their belts. It was like Black Excellence. And most people don't realize she's half black, half German. She's a Boris Kojo. And she, like, not only is going to litigate her, but like people, I hate saying people of color, but people of color like her. And like from any ethnic, just like we can do this. The last black champion we had was Alicia Fox and Naomi. And Naomi just won her title. Like, and Naomi's been there for like 11 years. She's been there as long as Kofi is. And she just got her title. And she had a little nice, and even Naomi had a little nice little run. She's won it twice too. And like, and I love Naomi. She's had her time with it. But Sasha is like, you gotta understand, like, when Sasha wants to be champion, she wants, it has to legitimize her as a good champion. As far as her championship reigns, they're not good. None of them are good. Especially if you're like getting it once and you're passing it on to someone else, probably preferably blonde. And how do you think that makes you feel? And she didn't like that at all. It's like, I would like to hold this belt for more than 2 weeks. And you know what? She's never had that opportunity. I don't know if Vince trusts Sasha. Like, even though she has the attitude, she got the ring attire, she has the music. Yeah, she botches here and there, but who doesn't? I've seen Jeff Hardy botch a lot of shit. People, like, when you're doing risky maneuvers and shit, you're going to botch something. And then I think a lot of people realize, I know women's wrestling has gotten better, but they're not as choreographed as men are. That, not to be sexist, because some, like, Charlotte is really choreographed. And, like, depending on who she's with, she could, like, you could really... This is my opinion about every time I watch a women's match. Depending on who's in that ring, you're either going to get a splendid match or a botchy match. Like, the matches she's had with Charlotte, great. The matches she's had with Bailey, phenomenal. The matches she's had with Nia Jax, botchy. The matches she's had with people that you really don't really care about, botchy. I think the one she had with the Iconics was kind of botchy. Alright, so I've always said this about women's matches. It's like, you're either going to get really good ones or really botchy matches. And I think Sasha Banks is like, most people don't understand, this is the passion that some people, like, your name, like, once you build a name and all that other stuff, you kind of like want to preserve your character. That's the same thing Bret Hart did. Like, he wants to preserve that character. I know some, like, I get it, it's a business and you gotta like kind of go with the business, but you still gotta like give your character, like, you gotta go out there and perform, and like, you gotta make your character look great. Like when Austin took his ball and went home, and because he didn't want to lose a regular Monday night match with Brock Lesnar, like, I understood that too. It's like, And like, I don't think Vince understood it, but I understand. I know he has apologized for it, but I still think Austin was in the right. He was like, I'm not just going to lose to someone on a Monday night. Like, we could do this on pay per view with no build up. Just no build. You're just going to treat me like a regular jobber? No. And I feel like Sasha feels like the same way. It's like, I'm giving you revenue. It's like this women's revolution. I'm the reason why this women's revolution thing is popping. It was like, I'm the reason. You could say she's one of the reasons why Becky Lynch and them are main event in WrestleMania. She can literally say that. It's like, you put me in Hell in a Cell matches and all that other stuff, and I'm not good enough to hold a tag title. Most people, like, think about it. It's like, if you put all this work in and you get treated still kind of like treated like your name ain't shit, that's kind of like, you feel a type of way. That's like Bret Hart felt that way. Y'all gotta understand, Bret Hart felt that way. That's why you left. Stone Cold Steve Austin, that's why you left. The Rock, that's why The Rock comes back and forth to preserve his name before they do anything stupid. Because I feel like if The Rock stayed, they didn't like fuck this name up. Look at Kane. Kane was one of the most, in my opinion, Kane was one of the most fearful people that you will ever meet. Like, the mask, he had the theme music, the walk, the fire, and all that other stuff. And then they made him Corporate Kane. And like Corporate Kane. And he was one of my favorite wrestlers from Attitude. I watched that man Kane from like one of the most feared wrestlers to someone like another jobber. Now they're trying to preserve his name and all that other stuff because he's kind of up there in age and all that other stuff, and he's and he's put his line on the business. And just like the Undertaker, you don't. And Undertaker's the same way. I said Undertaker may have lost a match, but god damn it, Undertaker is still the Undertaker. Like, you can't tell the Undertaker any different. It's like sometimes your name matters. You kind of want your name to matter, especially when you go down in history. Sasha Banks wants to be known as one of the greats, and sometimes they don't treat you like that. And when you feel like you don't get treated like that, you take your ball and go home. So, with that being said, Sasha, I support you, and I hope when you come back, they have something for you, because the way they treat you is bullshit. And this is to me, this is a great way of letting people know. And now people are like open about it. All right. I don't think you're spoiled. I just think you're passionate about the business. It's like when Vince McMahon was like, I want someone that's gonna grasp the brass ring. I feel like you're grabbing that brass ring. And and I hope you stay, and I hope you kick ass in the WWE. But if you go somewhere else, I'll support you too. Let me know what you think. Today, my name's Oskino Fly, and I'm out. Peace.